Alright, well, we're getting back to work on the Bessemer here. Getting the non-PTO side bearing plate pulled off of the crankshaft here. You can see the Babbitt bearing kind of coming off with it. Yeah, bearing shot. You know, this engine sat outside a very long time with no grease cups in it. So as a result, where the grease cups were here, and then on the block here, and on the opposite side right there, just filled up with water. You know, after 4 decades of that or more, you know, it got into the Babbitt and degraded the Babbitt, and didn't hurt the crank that badly though, so that's a plus. But definitely Babbitt bearings did not survive. That's a big thick chunk right there. Alright, I'm going to keep pulling this plate off. Got a hydraulic puller here from you all know the place. I'm not going to say it, but it was the right price at the right time. So get back to work. Oh, and don't worry, I'm not applying too much pressure to the outer flange of this plate, so don't worry, I'm not going to break it. That was one of the major concerns with using a jaw type puller like this on this plate. Just, you know, so far from the center, easily 7-8 inches, and then only on a ½ an inch, a little bit more of cast iron, was a real concern with breaking this plate when I was pulling it off. Unfortunately, with I did change jobs recently, and I lost the use of that very large, like 60-ton press that I had in a video a couple of years ago. So, gotta do it the old-fashioned way. Would have preferred the press, but just taking my time, a little bit of heat, and she's pulling off just fine. Alrighty, let's have a look here. Yeah, no saving that bearing. Whew. Well, I'm sure it had a useful service life. That's all Babbitt coming off of there. Whatever seized itself to the crank. I do not see any big, large pitting though on the steel. There's some fresh rust here, not fresh, but rusty rust, but no major pitting. Let me get some steel wool and, not steel wool, Scotch-Brite or something, some sandpaper, and clean that up a little bit. Alright, so after a few seconds of cleanup work, this is what we're left with. Got some pitting here. The deepest is about 8 thousandths below the surface. Only a couple of them are that deep. We got 2 here that are deep. Actually 3, that's pretty deep. Everything else is not bad. I don't know if I want to, if I'm going to run it. It's really not going to make any difference, this little bit of pitting. Or if I want to have the crank turned down, maybe, not all the way down, not a full 8 thousandths, but maybe 5 thousandths, turn the crank down 5 thousandths and eliminate a lot of that pitting. Now that really wouldn't be a big deal to do on the PTO side flywheel, a PTO side main, because it's just a straight bearing, that's it, and then there's a step down here where the flywheel mounts. You can see that there. Wouldn't be a big deal to do that here. On the other hand, it would be a big deal to do it on this side, because the governor collar and the timing gear, or not the timing gear, but the magneto drive gear actually slides, as a matter of fact, on this crank. So that means I would have to, after turning this down, I'd have to make a bushing for that gear, so it wouldn't be sloppy on this crank. That probably wouldn't be too difficult to do, but maybe you just like to keep it simple and run it like it is. I don't know, I'm going to have to think about it a little bit. Clean it up a little bit more. There's still a few high spots that, of rust that makes it look worse than it is, so I'll go work it a little bit more and see if I can't clean it up, without losing its concentricity or anything like that. If you're wondering what this is here, this piece of sheet metal, this little plate, there's actually a little tube in the crankcase that drips oil right into the valley of this piece of sheet metal, and as the end is running it, obviously the oil slings out to this outside edge, and there's a little hole right here. I don't know if you can see, right there, right here, and that runs up to an oil outlet hole in the connecting rod throw. So that just serves to lubricate the connecting rod. But yeah, so I'm going to work this a little bit more, and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. By the way, here's some of the bronze I picked up for my new bearings. It's SAE 660 high lead bearing bronze. This is of course one bearing, one there, and one there. So right now it measures 2.8 inches OD. Of course it's got to be 2.75, so you can turn a little bit down on the outside. And the ID of right now is like 1.6, I think, and it's got to be 2.25, so there'll be some work there, opening that up. And I also got my piston rings, new piston rings from Auto Gas Engine. Dave Reed, he's the guy down there. I buy pretty much all my rings from him for any of these old engines. They're really nice cast iron rings. I'm lucky that the ring grooves and the piston aren't worn at all. They're actually a great snug fit, so they're going to work just fine. So alright, I'll get back to work on the crank.